people are getting their food, their bills, I'm going to give you all a quick history of the Lawton Metro Chamber of Commerce. A 10-minute drive along Braddock Avenue from Edgewood to Braddock is a visual contrast that reflects the economic disparities of the region. Edgewood, with neatly trimmed lawns and large homes, had a poverty rate of 4.99% in 2019. In Swissvale, the houses are a bit smaller. There is some lighted properties and a poverty rate of 13.2%. Braddock, part of the Mon Valley, with a poverty rate of 36.7% and littered with empty lots and blights, is a long way from its place as an international type of industry in the 1920s. Directly contributing the high rate of poverty in the Mon Valley region, which is 29.8%, are systemic racism, chronic illness due to environmental pollution, violence, limited public transportation, and a lack of employment opportunities in the region. Addressing these issues by establishing economic equity is a key goal of the Mon Metro Chamber of Commerce, or MMCC. In February of 2019, Braddock Borough Councilwoman Tina Doucet, with a team of local leaders, residents, and creatives, launched the Braddock Business Community Roundtable to help budding entrepreneurs establish their businesses and provide support and direction to existing business owners. In less than a year, it was determined that a specific region of the Mon Valley, which is Braddock, North Braddock, Rankin, and East Pittsburgh, needed a specialized chamber of commerce to address systemic problems and establish economic. Wait, this is a tongue twister. And establish economically healthy communities. There you go. On June 11, 2021, the Mon Metro Chamber of Commerce was established to service these communities back to health. It says pause for applause here, so thank you. In addition to assisting existing business growth and sustainability, the MMCC supports entrepreneurship, creates a pipeline to resources, and assists in a variety of ways in community economic development. To help heal our communities, the MMCC encourages businesses owned and operated by individuals that are socially minded, environmentally conscious, and fiscally responsible. Our vision for the region is one of economic prosperity and equity, environmental justice, and racial equity. Empowering the people of the Mon Valley to be owners and invest in their community as employers is a critical step in the process of creating a better future for Allegheny County, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the world. So, it is my pleasure to introduce you to the board of the Mon Metro Chamber of Commerce. This is the core team, and first up, I would like to bring up to say a few words Tina Doucet, the founder and board chair. And yeah, that's my mama.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I don't want to miss anything that I want to say, so I will read some of it, so pardon me for that. But because there's three very important things that I want to share with you this evening. And the first is the need, the second, the vision, and third, the plan. When I heard Evan speak earlier, I said, wait a second. But I know that those things are in place for success and leadership for a reason. And I grew up in Rankin, and I lived in North Braddock for many years. And my husband and I, we bought a home in Braddock 27 years ago. I remember the tail end of the heydays in Braddock. Who else remembers some of the heydays in Braddock? Okay, some folks might remember that. But I remember the tail end of the heydays in Braddock when Braddock Avenue was bustling. Braddock Avenue was busy. I was a little girl then, but we shopped at Jason's and Fashion Sphere and Thompson's Shoe Store. Oh my goodness, it was a wonderful time. And I remember it vividly. One of the stores that existed then is still on Braddock Avenue, to the surprise of many, and that's Al Boss Optician. They've been there a long, long time. to break my eyeglasses probably every month. And I would go into Mr. Boss, and so this is the dad of the L Boss that's there now. I'd go into his dad, and I'd give him my glasses, and he would fix them. Sometimes he'd charge me a quarter for the screw. I guess maybe that was an incentive to, don't break them. He could have used that quarter at the candy store. And sometimes he just said, "Here you go, Tina." But just knowing that they're still there, and when I talked to Elle, he said, "We're still doing well. We're on Braddock Avenue doing business." And so I remember those things vividly. But then, to the dismay of many, deindustrialization happened. And it brought what we call white flight, massive blight, unemployment, and the drug epidemic. The Mon Valley has never fully recovered. Never. And this is a problem. We know that the needs exist and they're real in our communities, but we also know that we are ripe for growth and change. Hopefully, you see that there is an established need. There's a need in the Mon Valley. And secondly, the vision. For those who don't know me, many of you do, but just in case you don't, I'm a woman of faith. This year, I was a part of a cohort of 26 individuals, and I was ordained as a deacon at my church, Macedonia Church in Pittsburgh. I absolutely believe the scripture that says, "Without a vision, the people perish." 16 years ago, I've been serving now for 16 years as a councilwoman in the borough of Braddock. With each project I've worked on, a vision was required. The Civic Plaza on Braddock Avenue, and a lot of people are utilizing it for big events and parties, and I know it's been a wonderful asset to the community. But doing that Civic Plaza required a vision. The new housing on Holland Avenue, and the Oringer Building. I know Greg's somewhere here. The Oringer Building on Braddock Avenue, the overlook housing that sits right above the Civic Plaza, and there are a number of apartments that Mon Valley Initiative has developed and units all throughout Braddock. It required a vision. The workspaces that Allegheny Health Network occupy on Braddock Avenue, and where Tawanda and Representative Summerlee's offices are on Braddock Avenue, developed those, and it required a vision. It was important. Braddock Business Community, BBCI we call it. It involves the assessment and rehabilitation of multiple lighted properties on Braddock Avenue, structures that are falling down. You'll get more details about that later on in the program, because Dora is going to come and share what Allegheny County Economic Development is doing to help move that process forward. But to put that together and to make this happen, and to get these properties back on the market and in the hands of viable owners, it requires a vision. You get where I'm going, right? After many years of getting calls for direction and assistance from community members who wanted to start a business, who were interested in seeing their ideas come to life, we decided in 2019 to launch the Braddock Business Community Initiative. And this was a speaker series. As a matter of fact, some of my leadership team is here today. Mayor Charday Jones was on my leadership team. And give her a hand. Lisa Franklin Robinson was on that leadership team too. Is there anyone else in the house that was on that leadership team? But it was important. It was important to make the Braddock Business Community Roundtable happen. community and people, whether they were baking cakes in their house or doing, putting together jewelry to sell. There were entrepreneurs that wanted knowledge. So this speaker series, we had experts on many topics, from crowdfunding to developing your business plan. Our first roundtable, over 100 people showed up at the first roundtable. It was a success. The outcome of it, after a year of running the speaker series, it was determined that we needed a chamber of commerce in our region in the Mon Valley. That is what came out of it. And this chamber would support businesses and business development throughout our region. With all those projects, the Civic Plaza, the housing, the office development, BBCI, BBCR, I served on the leadership teams. Provided direction, support. We have a vision. Many of you in this room today started your business because you had a vision. I want you to leave this evening with a shared vision to help rebuild this region of the Mon Valley. By doing so, your businesses will grow also. So, I talked about the need, I talked about the vision. Lastly, I want to talk about the plan. Every budding entrepreneur or business owner here is here for a reason. You came out because you had something in mind. Maybe you wanted to identify new clients. Hey, look around the room. This is a good way to, if you're a business owner, you should scope out and work this room. Because there's clients, there's potential businesses that you can connect with. You might want to identify clients, and maybe you wanted to network with other like-minded people. That opportunity exists here today. It exists. I know many of you in this room. I know many business owners that are here today. This is an opportunity. Don't let it pass you by. If you have business cards, pass them out. You may have come because you want to learn. You want to learn how to start your business, how to grow your business, or how to do better in your business. Maybe you came because you need to get the word out about your business or your program. You might be running a program. See, when I say business, I'm saying for-profit and non-profit. I'm saying, because they're still businesses. And you may want to, you may have a program that you need people to know about. It's a good program. That's a reason to come, because we want to talk about that, how you get people to get involved and know what you're doing. But maybe you want people to know about your program or about your product. You have a product for sale. You want to get it out there. It's good to be in this crowd. Or maybe there's a service you provide. Might not be tangible, but there's some intangible services that are absolutely needed. Whatever the reason is, there is power in numbers. MMCC is a membership organization, and we want to partner with each of you to help you do all of those things, to help you get the word out, get knowledge, your product out. We can partner with nonprofits, we can partner with businesses. We want to partner with all of you. With numbers, we can push policy on every level, on a county level, on a state level, and on a federal level. And believe me, some of the policy that has come out on a federal level around, with the pandemic and corona, it was small businesses that pushed that. And I know I have someone here that can attest to that. Is that true, Pam? She knows. So you'll get to meet Pam a little bit later. But that, it is so important. And I know I've heard some of you say, oh, you know what, there's policy, this isn't helping me as a business. That is what a chamber is for. And we don't want to be a silent chamber. We want to be an active and a live chamber. We want to know the needs of our chamber members. We want to be able to help you move things forward. So yes, that is something that a chamber can do. With numbers, we can create a new ecosystem to utilize and buy each other's goods and services. Hey, can we do that? Can we do that? And I know if you have a product, I know if you're cooking something, if you're doing something, you want to put it out there. You want people to know that this is happening and what you're doing, and you want them to buy in and to support you. And as a chamber, we can do that. The Braddock Business District, back in the day, did not have many black and brown business owners. Our plan is to change that. We want a diverse business district, a diverse business community. People of every color, every background, there is nothing that we want to discriminate against. We want our business district to look like the world does and our community does. We want to be intentional about creating opportunities for ownership. You can't just say you want it, but you have to purposefully put in place measures and steps to ensure you get it. And that's what we've been doing. And Dora, again, is going to talk about some of that. We have been intentional in doing that. An investment, and if we're going to build and sustain wealth in our region for our children and our grandchildren and for ourselves, we cannot have the haves and the have-nots. It won't work. Part of our plan involves ensuring that both grants and loans, micro-enterprise business loans, are available. Because see, if you're cooking, you're baking in your kitchen, and your oven breaks down, and it costs a couple thousand to get a new one, and you don't have that, you need help. Especially if you're moderate to low income. Why can't we create an opportunity that would give that individual a grant to get what they need? A grant. And yes, it should come with some criteria, but I tell you this, it would change the dynamic and what we do as business owners and as a community if we're able to lift those that need a little bit up. So, we have heard and we know that there's a need. We know we have a vision. I'm asking everyone in this room to partner with us. Partner with the Long Metro Chamber of Commerce to bring that dream into reality, to change the dynamics of our region and our communities. Thank you.
Wow. So we've heard from one person to create and from another to have a vision. This is some good stuff, y'all. So next we are going to have some words from the program director of the MMCC, Lisa Franklin Robinson.
Good evening. So I'm going to be a woman of few words tonight, because there's a whole lot of people coming behind me that you're going to want to be up and have your ears open and listening to. So I'm going to get your ears up and open and get you excited about the MMCC. So some of you know me. I'm Lisa Franklin Robinson. Some of you know me as program director. Some of you know me as mother of 5, wife of Larry Robinson, grandmother of 3. Some of you knew me when I was little. Like Juanita and I lived up the street from each other. Some of you knew me when I worked in the court system. Some of you know me as Councilwoman of North Braddock. And some of you know me as your homegirl. We'll be on the phone for hours. There's a reason why you all came out today. Each one of you are related some way to one of us up here. Each one of you has a reason. What I mean related, I mean you have an interest. You have a relationship. There are things that you need and that you want to see happen here. There are people in this room that have supported us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially. But the thing that really it makes me excited is all of you want to see this jump off. Like, we are tired of seeing our region depressed and decayed and getting I don't see how we can get out of this mode. It never changes. It's always the same. You can never do anything. When I was a little girl, I was the kid who went through the school system here when we were going through the first phase of the first merge. When we merged Braddock, Rankin, and North Braddock together. It was an interesting time to say the least. And we had good teachers. We had good relationships. We weathered that storm of taking 3 rivaled neighborhoods and putting them into one. But we went through a lot of stuff. And I remember at a certain point, my parents were like, "You're out of here." And I went to a neighborhood school in the next neighborhood. That was the first neighborhood where I experienced racism. It was the first neighborhood when I was called a nigger for the first time in my life. But still, there was relationships that I built in that neighborhood as well. As I grew, I was blessed to go to private school. When I was in private school, I got an education. I'm not talking about A, B, C, D, or great math, or great academics. They had all that. But I got an economic education. I was in school with Richard King Mellon-Scave's daughter. She was in my class. I never experienced being in the presence of wealth as I did in that school. But there were 2 things that they taught me, and it stayed with me. Money doesn't care who owns it. That was the one thing they said. And class has no monetary value. Class is something you just have. Class is something you can cultivate. Class is something that'll take you from here to there, and you might not have $5 in your pocket, but you can move and relate and connect. What that school also showed me was that it was very important to have access. And that was something that I got. I got access. I understood that when there was a roadblock, I could figure out how to get around it. If I didn't, I had a friend that I could call and they could help me to get around it. Or at least there was another one I could call and they could develop a way to get around it. Access. During this time when we were putting this evening together, there's one more thing you don't know. I am a minister at Macedonia Church as well. I am a theologian and I'm in a doctoral program at the Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. My last year. And in my prayer time, it came to me the word access. How important it was for us to have access. That's the thing that jazzes me about the Mon Metro Chamber of Commerce. That's power right there. We want to give people in our region access. Because that access will change things. See, some of these people in our region, they already have the smarts, but they don't have the access. They already have the creativity. Some of these people that I've met can develop things like you wouldn't believe, but they don't have access to resources. I've met people who have vision and dream and goals and even in the minutest of things, right? But they don't have a way. They're like stifled. And I learned from the greatest relator I've ever met in my life, which was my mother, Lena Franklin, who worked at the Braddock Employment Center in Braddock. Some of you can hear her jobs that she got. But she taught me that even if you didn't have a bunch of money, if you can build relationships and strengthen, you have wealth beyond belief. There's a lot of wealth in this room. I'm a rich woman because I know all of you. And I, through each one of you, and we, through each one of you, have access to be able to make this chamber what it needs to be for the people of our region so they can make their dreams come true as well. And then give back to the community. It's a nice ecosystem that we want to build. So thank you for trusting us that we had a message and something to say and something to show you and something that we're building, so that you took your precious time to come out and spend some time with us. And we together will give access to our neighborhoods, access to the county, access to the state, and access to the world. And we will make ourselves known, right? Together. Thanks again.
Wow, y'all giving some good words tonight. I don't even gotta say the last one, y'all know it. So next, we are going to have some words from Mike Capson-Bellis. He is a board member and also the business mentor for the MMCC. Can we give him a round of applause?
All right, thank you. My name is Mike Capson-Bellis. I work at Google as my day job. If you saw a look of panic on my face earlier, it's when I saw that I was speaking after Lisa. Never follow politicians or ministers. That's the takeaway. As I said, I work at Google, and as maybe a lot of you know, we're a search engine. Our job is really to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible to people. So you just heard accessible, access. I'll come back to that because I think it's important. My other day job, if you promise not to tell my day job people, is working with the community and especially working with entrepreneurs. So I've, over the years, what I really love to do is work with small businesses. All the things you heard tonight about creating, about making, this is really, I think, what turns communities around. It's not corporations coming in and setting up shop, although that can help. More than that, it's the people in the community building something, whether it's businesses, whether it's art studios, whether it's nonprofits. These are the people that build the community. So when Lydia Benson reached out to me from the Forbes Funds and asked if I would get involved, I'm like, oh, that sounds right up my alley. It sounds really exciting. But the dirty little secret is I'm not from the Mon Valley. It says pause for booze. I'm from the other river valley, the AK Valley. I grew up in the New Kensington area, which has also seen its share of change over time and a lot of businesses closing down and hopefully more new businesses starting up. I really love to see that change and have been excited about all the things happening in Braddock and North Braddock and Rankin and all these surrounding communities. So I was really excited to get involved. And then I had the opportunity to meet Tina and Lisa and Ami and Jackie and Dana and Salita and heard their passion, felt their passion as they talked about this, and definitely knew I wanted to help. I talked about Google always trying to make information universally accessible. I think, Lisa hit the nail on the head, right? Ideas are everywhere. Great businesses ideas are everywhere. Great business minds are everywhere. A lot of you are in this room. But the resources aren't everywhere. The awareness of the resources aren't everywhere, and the funding isn't everywhere. And that, to me, is what the Chamber is about. When I first hear Chamber of Commerce, I don't know how you think of it, but I picture a smoky room with, rich white guys chomping on cigars. And that's not what this is. As you can see, as you can hear, this is something very different. This is about bringing people from the community to the table and to the street, to the storefronts, to the office buildings. Right? We want to mobilize the community and bring everybody together and help connect them with the resources and help them get access to the types of things that a lot of the tech startups you see popping up in East Liberty and the Strip District. It's the same resources, but they're not distributed everywhere. And that's what we really want to do, is make this universally accessible and really focus on the communities around here. So I'm super excited to be part of this. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's also great to be in person with people and not on Zoom, as Rich said. Like it's a reminder of how important it is to connect, to get to know each other, to network, to share our stories and share our business. So thank you very much.
Good job, Mike. That wasn't so hard, was it? All right, and lastly, are you saying a few words? Selena? You're on the list. Okay. So, yeah. All right, y'all, I gotta admit, I got a lot of family here tonight. And that's my cousin, Selena Siebert, Dr. Selena N. Siebert. She is the grant writer in the NMCC. So come on up, girl, say your words. Let's just like keep clapping or something. She's walking like real far.
All right, good evening, everyone. All right, so the Mon Valley shaped me. I was born in Rankin, raised in Braddock and North Braddock, ran the streets of East Pittsburgh with my best friend. When I walked down Braddock Avenue, I couldn't get away with anything. I was just like my mama, and they all told me that. So, and everyone just, they embraced me. I always had support here. I never questioned it. The Mon Valley is my home. My friends and family are here. The Mon Valley gave me fellowship and support. Then in 2007, my brother was murdered. And he died on the corner of 4th and Hawkins. And this tragedy made me forget about what this community gave me. So I guess I should say, like, I gave this community only as little as I could. And so I dove into my work. I taught at Duquesne, I taught at Carnegie Mellon, and then I accepted an opportunity to do some teaching at the Community College of Allegheny County. It was so different. These are students who came from neighborhoods like me. These are students who had a lack of access to resources. These were students who felt like even at the community college level, they weren't supposed to be there. And that's the way I felt everywhere I went. And I was lucky enough to have teachers who pushed me and encouraged me and said, girl, you just keep going. So what happened there was I started to realize that there was a need for me to be there in those spaces, to not just teach them how to be writers, but also to model the possibility of something beyond the conditions they lived in. So I poured into my students. I still am. Driving me crazy, but I'm still doing it. And so the second thing that happened was, yes, I got the opportunity to work with the chamber. And I realized that this was the missing piece of the puzzle for me. I was spinning my wheels. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What do I need to give back to? And I realized I need to come back to the Mon Valley. I needed to come back to Braddock and Rankin and North Braddock and East Pittsburgh, these places that gave me something. And remember that, yes, this place took something away from me, but it also gave me so much more. So, all of my education and unique experiences were part of the journey that got me back here, supporting a mission that I firmly believe in and that I believe matters. Building generational wealth that can lead to more little black girls becoming doctors. That can lead to healing in the community that mean that more little black boys do not have to die. the chamber, I believe that persistent inequality, racial income gaps, and racial wealth gaps hamper economic growth. And that long-term regional prosperity comes from equitable, engaging all individuals and assets in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Salida. And there are two more board members who could not make it tonight. That is Jackie Smith. She is the board vice chair. And that is also Lauren Beecham. She is she works at the Braddock Carnegie Library as well. So we are going to next. Sorry, Ami. Next we are going to. Next, we're going to have Ami. She is also a board member of the NMCC.
So, I am following these amazing speeches, and I had a really stiff and typical Indian speech written. I'm an engineer, blah, blah, blah. And Salida inspired me to throw that speech out and speak completely from my heart. So if what I'm about to say completely flops, it's Salida's fault. And I will revert back to my whatever I had written. So my name is Ami. I'm Indian, and so in a lot of ways, so actually three things that I heard all throughout all the speeches was, vision, plan, and access. And so I think it really inspired me to talk about that from my own personal perspective, because I'm from Boston, so I'm not from the Pittsburgh area. I'm not from the Mon Valley. And my experience growing up was completely different, because I grew up in a very traditional Indian family. So, some people might wonder, what am I doing here? Like, how can this person?
And one thing that, the vision part of it. So my parents were both raised by single moms, because both of my grandfathers passed away when they were
Very little. And they grew up under very, very poor circumstances. And what got them out, and prior to my grandfather's passing away, they were from a very upper middle class household, kind of like the Mon Valley, which was a thriving neighborhood at one point, right? And my grandfather's passed away, and their circumstances changed, and they had to rebuild. And what got them to rebuild was education. What brought my parents to this country was education. And so what inspires me, one of the things that inspires me about the Mon Metro Chamber of Commerce is the mission of fostering wealth as a community through education. When my parents moved here, my dad was an engineer, a very successful engineer in India. My mom was a very successful chemist in India. When they moved here, they had to start from ground zero. My dad had to restart his career as a technician, my mom as a solderer, and they had to rebuild. And they made that move to rebuild for me and my brother, because they wanted to give us access to the best education in the world, which is here, right here in America. Best education in the world. And so, but it was their capacity. It was their capacity to rebuild that made them rebuild their career and end their career as a very successful engineer working for Ford and as a very successful chemist working for a pharmaceutical company. So, the second part of the Mon Valley, Mon Metro Chamber of Commerce mission, capacity building, resource sharing. That's what brought my parents back into their original positions and higher in America, and the education that they were able to provide for us and give us a situation where we were able to rebuild and provide generational wealth for our kids. And so, although I may not have grown up in the Mon Valley, that is what inspires me, and that's what connects me to this community, and that's what excites me about what we are about to achieve. And I was thinking about this, and I think about today as the first step of a marathon, and I'm so excited to be part of this journey, to run this marathon with this entire community, with all of you guys, and with this team who I'm so excited to be working with. So thank you.
Thank you, Ani, and that did not flop at all. So. All right, so I think we've got all the board members. We've all said some things. Next, we're going to have some words from Dora Walmsley. She is from ACDED, and she's going to talk about the Braddock Business Community Initiative, which is BBCI.
How's this? All right, good. First and foremost, thank you. Thanks for inviting Allegheny County Economic Development and allowing me to say a few words. I am the bureaucrat in the room. I get to follow all of this amazing passion and excitement and beautiful stories and, talk about the business. But I can't do that because brevity is not a trait that I have. So I will quickly say, just so you know who the bureaucrat that is talking to you is, just like a quick little bit about myself. So I have been at Allegheny County Economic Development for about 2 years now. The majority of my professional experience, though, is in the nonprofit sector. So for 10 years, I worked in food insecurity and trying to just get people the basic, resources that they need. I decided to put my money where my mouth was and open a corner grocer in 2013 in the neighborhood that I was living in. I did that without a rich uncle, without any sort of, savings or money in my family, business acumen, nothing. I did that and was successful at it and eventually sold my business in 2018 because we have an abundance of free resources in this city and in this region that enabled me, a 20-something-year-old person, to start this business without anything. I realized after about 5 years that I didn't have the intestinal fortitude to run a bricks and mortar small business, but I loved connecting people, other small business owners, other entrepreneurs to the resources that allowed me to be successful. So I decided to sell my business, have a baby, and go to graduate school. So I did those things, and about halfway through graduate school, an opportunity came up with Allegheny County's Economic Development Department to manage their Business Development Division. And I was like, Allegheny County has a Business Development Division? Allegheny County has resources for small businesses? That was news to me. As a small business owner, I had no idea that the county that I was operating in had these resources available to me as an entrepreneur. A couple years into my role, I brought on Mark Connor, who's also here, and I get to work with him every day. Also a past entrepreneur, and probably is now too. He has a lot of side hustles. He too realized, or didn't realize that Allegheny County had these resources available. So on day one, in my role working at the county, I wanted to identify ways that we could connect, and ways that we could outreach to communities to say, we are a resource. Also understanding that there is an inherent distrust with government. And so how do we break down those barriers? How do we personalize the bureaucrats that are standing in front of you, talking about these things, developing these policies? How can we be good stewards of these public monies, of these programs? So that's me coming into this work. Part of this work has been overseeing the Braddock Business Community Initiative for our part as the county. Several years ago, before I came on board in this role, it's my understanding that the borough and Tina and other stakeholders had reached out to Allegheny County and our director, Lance Chipka, after there was some speculation happening on Braddock Avenue, and knew that was coming, knew that people outside of the community were acquiring these properties and likely would sit on them until development rolled through. And these weren't people invested in the community in any real way. These are people living in other states or elsewhere that just, again, wants to hold on to property for property's sake or for profit's sake, right? So the county formed a partnership and acquired 50-some parcels along Braddock Avenue. So these are RAC, or Redevelopment Authority of Allegheny County owned properties that the county owns. The agreement and the assumption, right, is that the county would work and is working with the Braddock community to create those community wealth building opportunities. So through that, the BBCI initiative was formed, and since then we have been working to say, okay, now what, right? So we have these properties, we've saved them from speculation, but what does that mean? And how do we keep hearing this word access, how do we make these properties accessible to people within the community that may have that desire to be developers, may have that desire to open their small business in a rehabilitated storefront, but aren't connected to the right resources, don't have the acumen, and don't know even where to start. So a lot of work that was done prior to my coming on board was identifying an engineer to assess the structural viability of these properties. That work was done, and then the pandemic hit. So everything stopped, and we slowly have been reinstating all of the work that was done to get these 8 select properties, these structures along Braddock Avenue that can and will be redeveloped out into the world and out to all of you that may be interested in redeveloping them. So in July, we held an event in Greater Valley with our architect and engineering that's provided these structural early assessments of these properties to identify, okay, here they are, here are these properties, here's the cost to rehabilitate, here's the cost to demolish. And from here, we're now at the point where we want to know, okay, who's interested in these properties? So we talked a lot about vision, right? We talked a lot about accessibility, and I'm here as the doer. I'm here to help all of you identify, if you're interested, the ways that you can acquire these properties through a request for development process, identify the funding sources to rehabilitate them, become developers, build that wealth within your own community, and return ownership back to the individuals that reside in the community and surrounding communities. Allegheny County doesn't want to be a property owner. We want to see these vacant and derelict properties rehabilitated, and we want to see that thriving avenue, we want to see that avenue return to the thriving business district that it once was. So we're now at a stage, there are 8 properties along Braddock Avenue that have vacant structures on them. We have done early engineering for these and have kind of identified cost estimates for what it would be to demolish, redevelop into a variety of different scenarios, maybe a commercial space, so on and so forth. So I'm here tonight with a whole stack of paper. For those that are interested in any of these properties, you can take one of these, learn a little bit more about those available parcels, and then return this to us. This is not a full-on request for development proposal. One of the things that we learned pretty early on in the process was that there are those in this community that have the chops as developers to develop these parcels, right? So they've been through the process, they know how to respond to an RFDP, they know where to seek financing. There's this whole other, maybe greater contingent of individuals, as I said before, that don't know where to start. So we want to level that playing field by providing resources to those individuals that don't know where to start, to learn and to go through the process. So by partnering with organizations like Omicello Cares, which provides a real estate learning series, we can do that. So this property interest form is the first step in that request for development proposal. So if you're interested in that, like I said, I have a big stack over there. I also have a sign-up sheet, so I can send these to you electronically. We have a QR code that will take you to an online form. Again, the theme being accessibility, we want to make sure that we're making these properties and the interest in them as accessible as possible. So.
All right. Thank you so much, Dora. Next, we are going to have Mike come and remind you all of some things.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, one thing you heard from all the board members. One thing hopefully you took away from this is chamber is a membership organization. The success of this really depends on our members. Building a membership, a vibrant membership of people in the community and businesses in the community. So we want to encourage you to sign up. You can check out the website, monmetrochamber.com. And you can also save you some time if you go over to the table over here. You can sign up tonight as a member. There's different membership levels depending on whether you're somebody with a great idea who just wants to start to get involved and get access to the resources you will be developing. Or if you're a more established business, there's levels for that as well. So please check out the table. If you sign up as a member tonight, you get a free coffee mug with the Mon Metro logo, which you see all around you. You can also buy a mug, but that seems like a lame version of signing up for a membership. You get the membership with it. So I please encourage you to do that. We really want to make sure that people are represented, businesses are represented. We want this to be a community organization. We're really the ones just trying to get the energy started. So, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to shift gears a little bit here. I want to thank some of the sponsors, but before I do that, I want to bring to the mic Pamela Richwiller. She is from the Business Center. She and her husband drove in from Philadelphia. And she's going to share some information about a little bit about what they've been working on, some of the great things that are happening there that have been an inspiration to us.
Tina, thanks so much, first of all, for inviting us to this wonderful event that has so much passion and excitement. And we've been talking through Zoom, so it's great to see everybody's faces. You look better in person. So, Tina asked me to say a little bit about the Business Center. It is a nonprofit. I'm the founder, co-founder with my husband back there. It is over 22 years old. And I can say that because my son is 22 years old. Soon to be 23 in January. And the mission is to equip individuals with the tools they need to start, sustain, and expand their operations. So we provide technical assistance, we provide coaching, business development courses. In fact, right before the pandemic, we were preparing an online platform, thinking that we were addressing the need for people that travel and have to go away, or they have obligations that wouldn't allow them to come into our facility. Little did we know that online platform would serve in another capacity because of the pandemic. So, but we're fortunate that we can offer business plan training locally, and we provide it as far away as Nigeria. The way we got connected with the Mon Valley Chamber of Commerce is that they were committed to providing training for this chamber and technical assistance. And they wanted us to share some of our ideas, so we had a team that has been working closely with Mon Metro Chamber of Commerce, and we have some more work to do. But we are very fortunate to be part of this journey because they are committed to making sure that the businesses don't just come together, as it was stated earlier, to network, which is what I've seen in some of the other chambers that I've been a part of or I've participated in. They want to make sure that it isn't just one of those events with a bunch of white males in the room exchanging and having opportunities with each other to make deals. So I'm happy to hear that there's going to be access, there's going to be opportunities, there's going to be an exchange at a higher level. Because one of the things that I'm very passionate about is making sure that women and people of color have a place at the economic table. So that's very, very important to me. And I love this haiku, focusing on strength, focusing on grit, focusing on rolling up your sleeve and being a part of it, because this team cannot do that alone. It takes everyone's involvement that's in this room to make things happen. We've had the opportunity to work with businesses of all different sizes, all different backgrounds. One individual, she came to us with a hair product, and she was going to sell it for $15. We did a focus group with her constituents and other hair salons. She ended up marking up the product by 400%. A 2-ounce jar went from $15 to $35 of hair product, just because of the number of uses that was in that one container. And it was a hair straightener, natural hair straightener. We've also had the opportunity to work closely with someone who was a nurse. She decided to start her own business and go back and get her MBA. Actually, that's my connection to Pittsburgh, is that I went through Pitt's MBA program. My husband as well went through Pitt's MBA program. So she was a nurse, she got her MBA, and then she worked at Mercy Health. And my husband shared with her about the 8A certification program. She's now a millionaire. Her very first contract was $2.5 million, and she's now at $13 million. And she's from Pittsburgh. So our latest project is creating an innovation center, because in the area where we are, there are so many technical assistance providers. The Business Center is just one of many, and as a founder, most of the technical assistance providers have started out at universities. In fact, I was happy to see Jackie Hill, because she used to work for one of the providers, and we used to be planning in the same room back in Philadelphia. But I said, Jack, you were from Pittsburgh. You had to come back. And so with that type of competition in the room, for us, we have to stay relevant, and we also have to make sure that we are directing businesses where the opportunities are. So we're actually working on Innovation and Manufacturing Center that will provide technology, advanced manufacturing, and bioscience training. And it will be located in an underserved area, and it will be accessed by adults as well as children. And that was one of the things I didn't mention earlier, but we also do youth entrepreneurship training. So it's just a pleasure to be on this journey with you all. Looking for more exciting activity and exchange and seeing what great things are going to come from this whole experience. Thank you.
Sarah, before you give thanks, you can understand why we reached out to Pamela once we connected with her, because that we want to move our region forward, and we need help, direction, and leadership from individuals just like her.
All right, so I'm going to thank our sponsors. Steve Lubner from Child Lubner, Lance Shimka and Dora Walmsley from ACED, Mark Lewis from the Poise Foundation, Senator Jay Costa, Dr. Drew Smith and Ruth Boykin from the Metro Urban Institute of the Pittsburgh Theological Seminary, Derek Tillman from Bridging the Gap Development LLC, Cheryl and Wally Stazanowski from Mary's Vine, Juan Garrett from Riverside Center of Innovation, State Senator Jim Brewster, Congressman Mike Doyle, Lori and Georgetta Rue, a technical team from Deloge, Jacqueline Smith from Greater Valley Community Services, and Mike Capsambellis from Google. Also, have to thank our MMCC supporters, Fred Brown and Olivia Benson from the Forbes Fund, Ray Kander from the law firm of Cozen O'Connor, Julia Pepping and Dr. Sarah Malsawi and the IT students from Carnegie Mellon University, Pamela Rich Wheeler from the Business Center. Also, Pamela, would you like to come up and say a few words? Oh, okay. Oops, sorry. Also, a special thank you to Nathaniel Carter, the Executive Director of This Place, the Connect Center. The person or in the organization business who set up our decorations for today, which is that of Simply Sassy. Our caterer for tonight, which is Kemi's Kitchen and Catering, and desserts are by Cheryl Lewis of Lady Lou's Sweet Treats. Our photographer, Aaron Jones. Our haiku author, Justin Udo. And technical support, Hillary Holes, Kabir Chaudhry, and Bray Leeper, and their whole team. I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you. I also, I don't know if Bree is still over there. I'd like to say thank you to Bree, folks working at the information table. One thing that is so important to me, and if you work with me before in any project, you know I always put together a leadership team. Matter of fact, I do see another individual. I had to scope the room out. That was a part of the leadership team for the round table. Dominique is back there. Give Dominique a hand. I like to put together a team that'll make me think, that'll make me work. I like to work. I have to change some things, but and shine. Be smarter, be brighter, be who God has created and gifted you to be. So I put together a team, and I am so delighted. I'm sad that Jackie and could not be here, but Jackie is a phenomenal woman. She's the executive director of Greater Valley, and some of her team members, Rita's here, representing for Jackie. But you know, she's just phenomenal. Greater Valley has done so many things to move Braddock and our area, our region forward. But it's important to me to have team members like that. And many of you know Lauren Beecham. They call her Nudie. I know Nudie since she was a little girl, and she works for Braddock Carnegie Library. She is an amazing woman. She's one of the tech people. We depend on her and Mike to do some technical things for her. So having a leadership team that works with you, that understands the goal, the mission, the drive, is absolutely important. And last, but absolutely not least, come on up here, Lisa. I gotta tell you about my girl. And we have been sisters in some ways, but we work together, we have vision, and quite, do we argue something? Yeah. Well, that's why I said sisters, and because we're a lot alike. And she's strong. Well, I said, hey, I'm a little strong. Well, I get, you know. So, but it has been an amazing, amazing journey. And one of the things I knew when I stepped into this, I saw the vision to this. I saw the vision to birth this forward. But I knew from the very beginning that it was not for me to run. It was not to help, to support, to give life to it. But it was not for me to run. And I prayed, I said, God, you know, you have to. Then, Lisa, she came on the scene. I saw her giftedness. I saw where her heart was. She had her, I knew her mother. Her mother got, when my husband moved here from Philadelphia, and that she had the same kind of insight. And we moved forward together. So as the Mon Metro Chamber continues to grow, continues to do great things, she is going to be the leader at the helm. I will share the board. I guess you need me to get the money, huh? Okay? Because these businesses, they need loans and partner with many of the organizations. But know that there is someone that is going to take the lead, that is ready for it, that is willing, that cares about the community, that has a vision and passion, just like I do. So, Lisa, with no further ado, close us out.
She almost had me. She gets me usually out there crying. The reason why is because a lot of times in your life you get in a situation or you come into a place of obstacles and things that happen in your life where you just feel like you have nothing or nobody. You feel like you're just lost because something happens that you didn't expect. And so she found me in a place like that and asked me to work with her on a project and asked me to with another project and asked me to come do. And at that time, she was speaking life. And I'm going to be honest with you, there are a lot of people that will stand for you and push for you and not take anything for themselves out of their heart. They want to see you flourish and you succeed, and they're not holding back for themselves. And that's especially among black women, I'm just keeping it real. A lot of times we're not good to each other, you know, because there's jealousy, envy, strife, all these kinds of things. Tina never was that way. And I met her in high school. She's, you know, upper class, and I was a little freshman, and, you know, but I mean, even that. And so the journey, but while I was in that place of not feeling like I was anything, there were other places I ended up where life was spoken. So wherever you are right now, and especially if you have a vision and a goal in your businesses, everything you learn along the way will feed into that, seeing it. So there was another place that I am right now that I didn't mention earlier that I meant to. And I work at the water department right now. Now, in Braddock Water Department, I get to learn things. Why? Because my manager is a visionary. She's a creative. And she supports me. And it supports me at every juncture, even with this chamber. So, I mean, just to be blessed, I mean, and she's a black woman. I'm just saying. And she's right back there. Lord knew. And I'm just saying, that's a rare thing, relationships and access. So now we get you some more relationship access. We have some giveaways. We have some things we want to give back. So those of you who put your business card over there, I need Marley. Go on over there. Okay, that's my granddaughter. Go ahead, Marley. Okay, I need you to fish around in that bowl and pick out a card and give it to Miss Keena. Now don't put it back.
Okay, this is, they're with Allegheny County, Adriana. Is she gone? Is she gone?
Oh, she's gone. Wait, is Adrian? Yeah, she's gone. She was sitting over there. Okay, pick another one. And I'll be here to get it.
Oh, I know this person. This is Eric Miles with Elite Performance Athletics.
Hey! Hi, Eric. So this is a gift card. I hope you like coffee. So we try. You don't like coffee? There's too many people who like coffee. Okay, this is a gift certificate to come to one of our events. Okay, so just stay in touch and we'll be in touch with you. When we start having them, you can come for free. You're welcome. Please know the truth about that coffee, because I know there's some people that like coffee. Okay, pull another one.
Okay. Is this Danielle Little?
Danielle Little?
Daniel Little.
Daniel.
With involvement. Daniel.
Is Daniel here? No, he left. Okay, pull another one. See, this is why you gotta stay sometimes to the end. You get the real access.
Right. No, I think she's gone. One more. Come on, Mark. Grace Nelson?
Grace Nelson?
Oh, no, she's going here.
She's gone too.
Okay, this, hopefully.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Pamela, we know you're here with the business center.
Okay, Pamela. You gonna get, I hope you like wine. That's Mary's fine. You don't drink wine. Your husband does? Okay. Your husband will be happy. Two more.
That's okay. Okay, is Shannon here with Omnicella? I'm right here. Shannon, yes. Shannon.
So we were developing the chamber. We wanted to take all 5 senses and have you relate to something, and we like coffee. So you're gonna. This is Everyday Cafe. Okay, well you got a gift card. Okay, one more.
We have the Riverside Center for Innovation. Is Juan still here?
Juan's gone.
Okay. Tawanda Carla, she's
gone too.
Okay.
Mary Carey?
There you go.
Okay, come on, Mary.
Yes. No, Mary, it's for you now.
It's for you.
It said.
Okay, this is a free pass to one of our events.
I see that now.
Oh, and remember, take home containers, please, take home food. And if you're not in the chair with the centerpieces, move around. We don't want the centerpieces either. Thanks again. Oh, and if you didn't get a t-shirt, come up and get one. Yes, that's your table.
All those things get good.
Thanks again. Have a good night.
How's it going? Is it cold? So you think it's the thing might be cold? I know, your battery's like that. It's the wireless. Oh, did you check your battery life? Because it goes
Board members, can you all come up or over here to the large table for a picture? All board members, if you can make your way over to the board table for a picture.
That's all it is.
How you stop this on here? How you stop this on here? Make sure.